This week on Bolts and Hose podcast, Kris and Bryce tackle the question of roll threads or cut threads, which is stronger. Bryce also highlights some custom parts from the shop, and Paul joins us for another exciting episode of the Mailbag. You can find all that and more on this week's episode of Bolts and Hose.
Bolts and hose, boats and hose. I gotta have me my boats and hose. Boats and hose, boats and hose. I gotta have me my.
Welcome everybody to Bolts and Hose podcast, episode number 6.
Keep it rolling, baby.
Holy cow. It's good to have you all here today. Big week here at Patriot Bolt. A lot of activities going on.
We got OTC this week. Bryce and I went and walked the show this week.
It was a little smaller than expected.
Yeah, I don't know that it's fully recovered from the COVID impact of a couple of years ago.
Some of the big boys were missing, like, Halliburton wasn't there, and it was just weird. I think Schlumberger was there.
We didn't go the first day, but the feedback from everybody we spoke with was that it was very slow. Second day was okay, I guess. Maybe it recovered, this week, but yeah, it was definitely a different vibe.
We got today, we're recording this on May the 4th, so may the 4th be with you. Tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, so a lot of things going on.
Very cool.
Fun week.
We're changing the format a little bit this week for the Bolts and Hose podcast. Generally, we have been having a guest for the last few weeks. We're going to do it a little bit different this week in the effort to make this educational and fun and, sharing of knowledge. We've compiled a small test that we've been developing over the last few weeks. The topic is roll thread versus cut threads, which is stronger. This is a debate that has been raging for many years. I think the common belief is that roll threads are stronger. I've always been somewhat skeptical of that.
I have been too. Selling metal, you hear a lot of people saying it. When I sold metal to fastener companies, and going to our last company, you hear a lot of people saying that the roll threads are stronger. And I'm with you, man. It just seems to me that a thread is a thread, and it's not a weak link.
And regardless of how they're formed, you're dealing with the same metal, so it's the same mechanicals, it's the same chemistry, everything's the same. However, I think we approach this with an open mind and unbiased, so I'll be very curious and interested to see what the results are. Well, we know what the results are now, but assuming we didn't, I would be very interested.
My mind is aglow with whirling, transient nodes of thought, careening through a cosmic vapor of invention.
Ditto.
So for all you torque dorks and fasten nerds, let's jump into the research.
Very cool. Here we go. Let's go. So Bryce, tell us a little bit about the background of roll thread.
So roll threading is basically cold forming the threads by applying pressure from dies. So basically you're taking a bar that is pitch diameter, putting it between two dies that are forming those threads by pressure. So Kris, why don't you school us on cut threads?
So this is a process where you are removing steel. You're still making the same geometry, same major, minor diameter. However, it is removing a metal in order to make that thread form.
So if you're a fastener geek and you've ever wondered what's the difference between roll thread and cut thread, you've probably seen this image when you Googled the difference between the two. Very common out there on every website if you're looking at the difference.
You can see on the cut thread on the left, you can see the grain structure depiction and how that is interrupted when you're removing metal. On the right side, under the cold forming roll process, you'll see that the grain structure is still present. However, you can see the effects of that roll forming process on the grain structure. So part of my personal skepticism with the general belief that roll threads are stronger than cut threads is basically centered around the fact that the threads, regardless of how they're formed, are not the weakest link in a bolt.
Regardless if the threads are formed by cut thread or roll thread, you can take that bolt to tremendous loads and the body of the bolt is going to break. It's going to rupture before the threads are ever damaged, regardless of how they're formed.
So here at Patriot Bolt, we are always in search for the right answer.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
So the test apparatus used in the shop to monitor this will be a Skidmore Wilhelm.
Do what?
A Skidmore Wilhelm. This is a piece of test equipment that's used to calibrate torque guns, torque wrenches, that sort of thing, because it takes the variables out of the equation like friction factor and things like that. So it's a very sophisticated piece of equipment used to monitor load. So we have a camera set up which is focused on the gauge so the users can actually watch this test in real time. As well as a torque wrench that's calibrated up to 1,000 foot-pounds. There's a backup nut on the back of this which will prevent the necessity of a backup wrench, so that'll reduce some of the variables in the test.
Now, Kris, explain what you're doing here.
So this is a depiction showing the full-length thread being inserted into a nut. And again, like we said earlier, the body of the bolt is going to be the weakest link, not the threads, regardless of how the threads are formed. So in order to monitor this test, we're going to have to look at this a little bit differently. So what we've done is all of the test samples in this test have been modified so that the effective thread area is reduced. So we are only putting 3 full threads on the test specimens in order to monitor this. So what's happening is the threads are now the weakest link in the chain, and the body of the bolt is stronger than that area of the threads.
I know we got a lot going on in this short podcast, so bear with us. More information is coming, I promise.
I tell you the truth, I'm a little confused by your tactics.
Tactics?
Yeah, I'm going to keep acting tough until I figure it out, all right?
So to look at some actual samples, this will help us visualize this. So we've modified these parts. These are roll thread parts, and we've reduced the thread area so that there are 3 full threads that are left. These are the cut thread samples that we've produced in our shop to match precisely the roll thread specimens so that the effective thread area is exactly the same between the 2 samples.
So here are the test pieces exposed in the unit. You can see that there's only the 3 threads and they're not going to fully engage with the nut.
So in the interest of showing the actual test, this is sped up by about 20 times. So you can see the loading and unloading of each sample. There were 5 tests done on the roll thread samples, and then subsequently 5 tests done on the cut thread samples. So you can see the load was increased to the point that the threads actually stripped. The threads actually failed. We took it up to the maximum load possible. And whenever the load was released, we knew that the threads had failed at that point. So we're able to see what a maximum load would look like on each one of these thread forms.
So here are the actual results that we produced from the test. So you can see the 5 samples on the left are the roll threads. The 5 samples on the right are the cut threads. So there is a noticeable difference between the strength of the roll threads compared to the cut threads.
Which I was surprised about. I think my belief has always been that there's a little bit of anecdotal conversation surrounding this. I really thought because the mechanicals and chemistry were the same that we would see a similar strength between the 2 thread forms.
So that was some very interesting data. It's certainly not the outcome that I thought it would be. I mean,
We learned a lot.
Yeah, if you had to ask me going into that test what the outcome was going to be, I don't know that I would have predicted that.
Yeah, I think we were both wrong. Or not wrong, but I think our minds changed a little. How about that?
Yeah, it definitely did. I think, and part of the reason is I just don't think there was enough definitive data out there to say one way or the other. I think you kind of know that cold forming can increase the threads, but I don't know that there's been any good data out there to really illustrate that and depict it in a way that a simple man can understand.
So with our data, it says 17% stronger.
So 17% was the average increase in strength of the threads. So those
of the
threads,
roll thread.
It took that much more strength to shear the threads from the roll thread versus the cut thread.
Yep.
So there was definitely a notable difference, and I think the theory's been debunked if anybody suggests that the cut thread is stronger.
So, I guess for my peace of mind, typically when you do a test like this, that bolt would break in half. But what we did is we machined it down to 3 threads. And so what happens is you're putting all the stress on those threads. So those threads actually ripped off and stick in the nut, right? I mean, isn't that?
Yep, exactly.
So when those threads give way, that's when you lose your load on the machine. And so the cut threads gave way sooner than the roll threads.
Correct, yeah.
So they are weaker.
Yeah, it took less load to shear the threads on the cut thread than it
I just wanted to dumb that down just a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and roll threads.
And I think there's a lot of people out there that will look at that and say, roll threads are stronger, no doubt, but since it's not the weakest point of most fasteners, does it really even matter? I mean, you can increase the strength of the thread, but if that's not your weakest link, that differential between the strength of those 2 threads
doesn't really matter. In most applications, that's where you got to say it, right? I mean, there's some applications where I think it would matter. They need all the strength they can get.
If you've got a limited length of threads, like a short thread or something,
or maybe a higher temperature,
possibly
smaller.
make the argument there. Yeah, but in most applications, you're dealing with a standard nut with a standard length, and I think the height of that nut is designed such that you get a maximized surface finish from thread contact to thread contact, and it's not going to be a factor. So
and we will be, we were kicking around doing some future testing as well.
We talked about doing, if you were to roll thread, there's definitely a smoother surface finish on that thread than there would be with a cut thread. Cut thread, if you looked at it under a microscope, it'll be a little more jagged because you're ripping steel away. It could be argued, and future work could be done. What would, like vibration, loosening, what effect would that have on roll thread versus cut thread? Based on this test, I would predict that you'd probably get a greater loosening of a smoother thread form like roll thread, and there may be some benefits in that regard to cut thread.
Possibly.
Yeah.
There's only one way to find out.
Or you roll thread it and you increase the root strength of the root diameter. Yeah. So there's a couple of things we could do going forward from this, but this is a small segment of a small test that we ran in-house, and I think it was pretty interesting.
And it's just fun. It's one of those things. It's just fun to talk about. It's always a question. People come in, hey, we want a roll thread. Well, why do you really need that? And I think some people just don't know, and it's just a fun conversation to have. So if you would like to join in on the conversation, leave a comment. Send us an email. We can continue this in a separate podcast or have you on as a guest. So,
very good.
Fun topic.
So let's talk. I think we've got one part for show and tell this week, Bryce.
One part. So it's a little longer podcast today. So just went out and grabbed a cool part that is running through the shop this week. So I don't know if this is going to show well here, but that is our Patriot bolt logo. With an M400 stamped on or laser etched in the bottom. So Monel 400 square head flanged bolt.
Copper nickel, right?
Copper nickel. Yeah, so it's a cool part.
This is used a lot in offshore applications for saltwater corrosion, things like that as well, right?
Yep. So I think this was a 2-week lead time. There wasn't that many. The quantity wasn't great on this one. I think it was only a handful of parts, but brought in round bar, turned it down, milled the head. So just a cool part, little special. Little exotic material.
It's got a radius on the end.
It's got a radius on the end. Even the head, the square head has a radius on the top. Very sexy part.
Very clean.
A good customer. I won't tell you who it is, but up north. How about that?
Very nice.
So,
cool part.
Yeah. Exciting times.
Well, hopefully everybody found this interesting, and we will look for more cool, informative content in the future. And appreciate you guys joining in.
Jump to mailbag next.
We'll jump to mailbag.
Okay, let's roll.
Hey, welcome, Paul. We are excited about another segment of the mailbag.
Mailbag. Nice. Hey guys, how's it going?
Very good.
Good to see you, man. You're looking good today.
Hey, you're looking fantastic, Bryce. Looking all swole. What are you doing?
I'm jealous, man. You got a beautiful comb over. It's well placed, man.
Some people call it locks.
Locks, yeah. Just jealous of it.
You're always commenting on Bryce's physique. You never are complimentary of mine, Paul. What do you think? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say?
Well, I'll say this: ever since I lost the bet to you, you've gone downhill. So,
that's true.
I was giving you all the compliments weeks ago, and you're doing so good.
I fell off the wagon, or got on the wagon, or whichever one it was.
Drinking wagon.
Yeah.
The black IPA wagon.
These podcasts will make you gain the weight.
Yeah, I hear a podcast that adds like 7 pounds to to the look. So that's what it is, really.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. How you guys doing over there?
We're good.
What are you guys drinking?
So we brought Casey here today, my man.
Oh man.
Casey.
Thanks for having me.
So Casey is the tap master here at Ingenius. He's going to talk about the delicious Master Vader.
So this is a
real quick. I got to do this. So here's the can. Check this out. So it is Darth Vader's hand. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Darth Vader's hand with a chicken that he's choking out. So Darth Vader is choking.
He's asphyxiating the chicken.
A chicken.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it choking. I'd call it asphyxiating.
Well, if you're a Star Wars fan, you would say force choke.
Oh, there you go.
Force choke.
Which sounds even better.
Yeah. A force choke.
And your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this. Vader, release him.
As you wish.
A force choke chicken.
I love it.
Sounds interesting. So what are you doing tonight?
So every year, because breweries are kind of nerdy, so like Star Wars is kind of a nerdy thing. We like to bring those two things together. So for the past 2 years, we put out Join the Dark Side, which is a really awesome sour that we do.
Yeah.
It's made to mimic the Dark Side Skittles that come out every year.
Okay.
We also have the Rancor Rita, which kind of tastes like an orange margarita. It's really sour, really tart. And then of course our Masturbator, which is a West Coast style black IPA, also known as a Cascadian Dark Ale. It's got Columbus, Simcoe, and Cascade hops. Super good, super smooth.
It might be my favorite I've ever had here. I mean, this thing is delicious.
So no oats or anything like that, then?
No oats, no dairy, not evil enough. So yeah, it's just pretty much cut and dry, just a plain and simple black IPA.
Sweet.
8%. Has the cool Masturbator force choke for the chicken.
Yeah, I mean, I can't beat that.
No.
I'm not a fan of dark beer, but this is growing on me. I like this.
It's a really good kind of combination of IPA and that roastiness that you get from like a stout or something, but it doesn't have that heaviness of a stout. So.
He said that the Masturbator was growing on him. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't. No, it went right over. Yeah, so.
I'll own it. It's fine.
You should. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Casey.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, brother. Good to see you.
As always, come get one before they get sold out, because I
get that. I
gone quickly.
What a great homage to the Master Vader choking the chicken.
Very creative minds over here at Ingenius.
Yeah. I think there's some similarity between Patriot
Is that
Bolt.
your Darth Vader impression right there?
Yeah, that's pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
By the way, new hat, huh? New hat, Kris?
It's a new hat. Paul, it's got the stars
Dude.
and the stripes. Look at that.
Dude,
Check that
that
out.
is impressive. That's
Or
gonna
no,
match
do it backwards.
the golf
Stars and
attire.
stripes.
Was that for the golf attire?
That's correct. Yes. Yes.
Why aren't y'all wearing that today?
We do have a special outfit for a golf tournament tomorrow. There's the social octane
golf game,
golf game tomorrow.
Kingwood.
So myself, Bryce, Austin, Danny, we're going to be the foursome playing in social octane. So we have some special outfits. I'm sure there will be some pictures that circulate
on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yes,
all right, guys.
And you're correct. These hats will be part of the attire.
That's hey, you don't mess around from head to toe. You guys got it locked down.
Make an appearance, baby. Yeah, make an appearance.
I like it. All right, we'll post those photos on LinkedIn so everybody can see.
We will. So what you got for us today, Paulie?
All right, so we got some questions. We've got a big fan base from all over the world, Mr. Worldwide. This question comes in. We've got 3 questions if we have time for them. This comes in from Roughneck Jimmy. Yeah. So Roughneck Jimmy says, I know you guys call yourself Patriot Bolt and all, but what else do you do besides bolts?
Well, we have there's 3 companies that are part of the Patriot Bolt or the Patriot Group. We have the Bolt Company, we have a gasket company, we have the hose facility. Patriot Bolt though, we are a machine shop. We have, a handful, 14-ish CNCs. So we can produce really anything per print.
And we specialize in fasteners and things. So, we'll take round bar and we can make anything that customer provides a drawing for. And turning down special heads and that sort of thing. Those CNCs are capable of just about anything.
Yeah. I mean, we make washers. I think we've showed the spherical washers on here before. Special ring joints we make for our gasket company, out of special material Monel, Inconel, duplexes. We can bring over configurations of ring joints with cam profiles in them. Plugs, dowel pins. So we can manufacture a lot of different types of parts. So we have really good machinists, very capable equipment.
Right.
So
I'm trying to think of the craziest stuff we've done outside of fasteners. I mean, I think of probably the diaphragm plates for exchangers, heat exchangers.
Yep.
Those are crazy. Nothing to do with a fastener. However, the customers that we provide bolting to know that we're a machine shop. They know our capability.
Right.
Those are difficult things to find. So naturally, we can cater to that.
Yep.
Yeah. Washers as well. Did you guys mention washers?
Washers.
Sealing. Coatings.
Coating. So, we're not coating in-house, but we'll send all that stuff out to our great partners here in town. But as far as manufacturing goes, just mainly bolts, little washers, little gaskets, little of this, little of that. We got a cool little operation over here, Paulie.
Right on. All right, next question, guys.
Hopefully that helps out Roughneck Jimmy.
Yeah.
Roughneck Jimmy. Shout out to Roughneck Jimmy. All right, so this is another a Patriot fan here, and this is 1 Minute Bandit. What's so funny?
Your face.
A great name. I love it.
All right, so what's this I hear about a Patriot Sealing? I guess you kind of touched about it in the last question. Can you elaborate what they do or what you guys are, Patriot Sealing, and where you're located?
The Patriot Sealing, another division of Patriot, primarily focused on specialty gaskets. So similar to the way we approach bolting with quick turnarounds and expedites, specialty alloys, that sort of thing. All of those same things can be held true for gaskets. So any kind of specialty alloy, special design, anything that's not an imported standard product. I say that, we will do the standard commodity product, and we do a lot of volume associated with that. But we tend to perform best in situations where it's a rush and a special and things that aren't found on the shelf. So where it's located, we've got one right here. I'm looking across the parking lot outside of Ingenius right now. It's a separate building from our bolting building, but that building is full with things like a fiber laser, capable of cutting any type of alloy. They've got winding equipment in there for winding spiral wound gaskets. They've got cam profile equipment. As a matter of fact, we just got another cam profile machine this week, so that doubles the capacity that we've got for the specialty cam profile machines. And then a lot of other specialty equipment for making gaskets, bending equipment, welding equipment, that sort of thing. So
shout out to Neba and Rachel. They do a great job over there.
Awesome. In regards to the Dubai location, is it set up pretty much the same? Is the clientele the same? Is it a different operation? What's the difference?
So if you look at the facility here in Humble, it's primarily a metal gasket facility. We don't do a lot of the soft or non-metallic gaskets as much. If you were to compare that to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Dubai is primarily a soft gasket facility. So we've got an Atom flash cutter over there where we're cutting soft gasket material. We can also cut things like GRE for isolation gasket technologies. And then if you were to parlay that over to Abu Dhabi, that's very much like the facility here in Humble where we have metal gasket equipment. So a very similar suite of equipment to make specialty metal gaskets. And we're catering to customers like ADNOC and some of the Kuwaiti oil, just that whole Gulf Coast region over there, Saudi Arabia, even some of those obscure Middle Eastern countries over there. So lots of oil and gas market over there. And we're doing a very good job growing into all of it with those two locations.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's truly worldwide. Like, this is a great operation, really growing. I mean, it's fantastic.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yep. All right, last question. This comes from Pressure Washer 69. Rumor has it you guys are going to Florida. And I think this guy or girl, I'm not sure if their spell check wasn't working. They say, "Can we meet?" But they spelt it MEAT. I don't understand. Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway,
I'm going to chalk that up to spell check. Let's just assume that's a spell check issue.
I would agree with that. But nonetheless, I know you guys are heading out to Florida. Do you mind sharing with the audience what you guys are planning on doing over there, and what type of festivities will you guys be partaking in?
So this is actually a large group of fellow patriots that are going to Florida. We're actually flying into Miami on Monday, and then we're driving down to the Keys. I think it's Isla Mirada.
Tavernier.
Yeah, Tavernier. Okay. So we've got a boat down there. We've got a bunch of guys, primarily in the oil and gas industry. So this is an annual trip. But it'll be filled with a lot of cool stuff. I hear there's spear fishing, which should be exciting. I don't know that I've ever done that before.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
You got to be able to swim underwater. Can you do that? Can you swim underwater?
I can. I've been known to.
You're a big man.
Yes. Which makes
I know Bryce has experience at spearfishing. I know that for sure.
And I wouldn't say experienced is the right word there. I've done it before.
And then diving for lobster. I think that's the other feature activity. I mean, there's a lot of offshore fishing and things like that, but it'll be a customer event. We've got a lot of oil and gas individuals there, and
nice.
We'll all be together for the week, so it'll be nice.
And you guys are going to be. Go ahead, Bryce.
Yeah, it's just a collaboration with Bolts and Hose and some good customers, and just an experience to grow the relationships.
It's the partners within the host facility. It's primarily the four of us that are hosting this thing. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard something, there's a possibility, or the boat setup is that you guys spear live lobster or catfish, and they cook it, they gut it and cook it fresh on the boat. Is that right?
Yeah, right there on the boat. Yep.
Oh, that's gonna be a great time.
Right there on the boat. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Living the life, guys. Hey,
I'll make sure I kill the ones that are alive this time.
Yeah, definitely. This is truly Bolts and Hose lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh well, yes. Definitely with the boat side of it.
That is awesome, guys.
There will be some hosers there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Hosers.
All right. Well, guys, and to the audience, thank you guys, Roughneck Jimmy, 1 Minute Bandit, and Pressure Washer 69. Thank you guys for those lovely questions. Keep sending them in. If you have any questions, sales@patriotbolt.com, and we will bring them on the pod, and we will get the answers from our insightful peeps, Bolt and Hose themselves. And with that, that's really it, guys.
Like, share, follow, right, Paul? Like, share, follow.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. You gotta like the
share,
video,
follow.
share the video, subscribe to the channel, forward it on to a friend, give them a laugh, give them some insights, and share the love. Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you, sir. Until next week.
All right, guys. Take care. Good luck.
Adios.
Don't shoot each other with a spear gun.
We will. Don't you worry.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Boats and hoes, boats and hoes. I gotta have me my boats and hoes. Boats and hoes, boats and hoes. I gotta have me